Marley and Dave, thank you so much. We're joined now with another student from Buffalo Public Schools. It is Zaire. Zaire.
Hello, I'm Zaire Brown. I'm a senior at Hutch Tech. My question for you today is, affordable housing is a major issue in the city of Buffalo and has been for generations. If elected, what steps will you take to bring down the cost of rent and make it easier for people to buy a home?
Mr. Whitfield.
Mr. Whitfield, this question is you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Zaire, for that question. Housing is a very important issue in our community. There's a lack of affordable housing in our community. We all know that. It has to be a priority of the city. Housing doesn't just, it's not just a place to lay your head. Housing impacts your productivity. It impacts all of the aspects of your life. And so we need to do something to make sure that people in this community are able to get housing. 60% of the people in Buffalo are renters. And so we have to do something to make sure that they are in safe, affordable housing. We should adopt good cause eviction in the city of Buffalo. Rochester and Buffalo has it. We should do a number of things to make sure that the people in these communities that do have housing, whether they're renters or owners, are able to stay in their homes, are able to afford the rents in that, are not being displaced by the new development that is coming. So I think that we have to do, again, holistic things that include all of these other things in terms of our affordable housing issue. It's not just building houses, one-offs in a community. We have to make sure that we have a plan, a citywide plan, so that we're not just building housing, but we're building community and we're building neighborhoods.
Thank you. Mr. Tyson Thompson?
That is a really good question. And, over the last 70 years in the city of Buffalo, the population has declined on a steady rate. And then in the recent census, we had the first modest uptick in population growth, plus the pandemic, which attributed a whole bunch of structural systemic issues in the city of Buffalo. It's the reasons why the same run-down house that had, people in it are now, $30,000 house now costs $300,000 with no improvements to it. We have a lead problem in our infrastructure, in the pipes, they're in the walls. We have crumbling roofs. People could barely pay their mortgage or rent, let alone fix, the roofs or wherever it is, it's crumbling on the city. So it's a structural, a systemic issue. The way that we address is that first we got to make sure that when people are renting out homes, they're up to code. A lot of homes are just barely making like the bare threshold to be able to be habitable. Second, we got to make sure that we have initiatives for residents. Once again, Buffalo is a blue-collar city for the blue-collar workers. A lot of people are struggling right now. It's a tariff war going on, inflation, people are hard times having jobs. It's not a lot of economic opportunity in Buffalo. So Rust Belt City, there are a lot of things that goes into it. But the most important thing that we can do as a mayor is that when you do have a home, it's safe. And then also that there are programs out there that doesn't have red tape that people can get to and access these services and resources.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Wyatt.
Thank you for that question, Zaire. Affordable housing is critical, but it doesn't seem that it's real critical, though, the way we act. I think that we need to be looking at funding more CBOs, community-based organizations, that do the type of infill housing so that we can ramp up the number of houses that we are doing. I know recently the acting mayor and the county executive came to my district for a press conference regarding infill housing without including me. Without including me. Now, you got to understand, look at that picture. But I support taking those lots that we have and building new housing, and not just simply building new housing, but building doubles where generational wealth can be accumulated, that someone can be living in the lower and renting out the upper to do those types of things. It should have been done a long time ago. We're the third poorest city of our size, and it seems as though our mindset is always on keeping other people down. I think it's time to build people up, come with fresh new ideas, ramp up the number of infill housing that we put forth, and work more closely with community-based organizations, because right now the city takes a role in it, and I think the city gums up the process because it's so, I don't even want to talk about it. It just wastes your time, and it frustrates people, just like I'm frustrated right now. But I think those community-based organizations that do it well need to be supported and funded so they can get more infill housing, more housing for residents that need that quality housing right now.
Thank you. Mr. Scanlon?
Thank you. Well, as far as that press conference, the county set that up, and I was on the same emails that the council member was on, but I was there. So I'm not sure why he feels he wasn't included. But as far as affordable housing, it's not what are we going to do, it's what we are doing. I can tell you about a tremendous program that exists right now, partnership between the City of Buffalo, Erie County, and the Buffalo Erie Niagara Land Improvement Corporation of the Land Bank. But I can tell you the program that exists now is not the program that existed when I became mayor. A couple weeks after I became mayor, there was a story, an article out there that talked about homes being built, affordable homes being built for $475,000, things like that. We got to work with our partners, re-engineered that program, dropped the construction costs considerably by re-engineering the homes, and now we are building 110 homes across the city of Buffalo, the vast majority of them on the east side of Buffalo. Internally, we have streamlined the process for purchasing property from the city of Buffalo. I completely agree that in the past it has taken years to purchase property from the city of Buffalo, and that gums up the process. But we've streamlined that process, and people will be able to get their hands on property much faster. And we are also having at the table now with the people who build homes, whether it's private, nonprofit, whoever it might be, and we are looking at different strategies on how to build homes. The city of Buffalo owns 7,000 vacant lots. I don't want them. They need to be put on the tax rolls and we need to put people in homes, put on the tax roll, and contribute to the overall health of the city of Buffalo. The city of Buffalo's done a great job of putting rental units online, but I want to create homeowners.
Thank you, Mr. Scanlon. Mr. Ryan.
Can't get more basic than a roof over someone's head. I've spent my career doing work on housing. I was a legal services attorney. I helped to fight illegal evictions, helped to fight foreclosures to keep people in their homes. And I spent years litigating housing discrimination cases to stop racist housing practices. I've worked the last few years, I've talked to a lot of members of the community, people from the faith-based community, community developers, community groups, and we came up with a plan called the City of Good Neighborhoods. There's three main components of the plan. Help keep people in their apartments. If they're behind on rent, we can help people catch up on their rent. Second is to make it so units are quality and habitable. So if people have doubles, often older seniors, they can't afford them. We got a grant program to get that unit back online. That brings rents down. But the most important is really the infill housing component. That we have a program to build new singles and doubles all over the city of Buffalo. That program is funded the second year in a row from New York State, $170 million. And I went to the city council to ask for support on this. Councilmember Wyatt, he gave the support and he voted in favor. Chris Scanlon voted no on housing money coming to the city of Buffalo. I'm just wondering if it was a private-public partnership with Carl Palladino, if maybe he would have voted yes.
All right. Mr. Ryan, you directly invoked Mr. Scanlon's name. Mr. Scanlon.
No, what I voted against.
If you directly invoke your opponent's name. Gentlemen, we are moving on.
Let's move on.
Gentlemen, we are moving on. Mr. Scanlon has 90 seconds.
We are focused on.
Gentlemen, please. Please, Mr. Tyson Thompson, please. Gentlemen.
You said no rebuttals.
Gentlemen.
Please, let's move on.
Hey, enough, folks, please. We are still continuing with this debate. We are on a broadcast live right now. We are moving on. Mr. Scanlon.
So we are focused on home ownership at the city of Buffalo. And, you know, for most people, a home is the largest asset they're ever going to have. We want to put them on a path to home ownership and make sure they create that equity and generational wealth that they can pass down. We're also creating a financial empowerment center to give people the financial wherewithal to be able to manage a home. It does us no good if we put people in a home and 6 months later it's foreclosed on. But when it comes to Senator Ryan's program, I didn't support it because I refuse to give landlords that take advantage of our most vulnerable residents money to rehab their homes when they're in housing court and taking advantage of our most vulnerable residents. And when he talks about the amount of money that's brought in, it's very misleading.
Hang on, please. Yeah. Hey, we're definitely not going to talk over each other. Mr. Ryan, please, sir, please.
We'd like to get to the next question.